Hi beautiful people. Hi, how are you? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hello. My name is Fisayo. I'm a second year MBA candidate at Arizona State University. Today, I will be sharing with you my experience with imposter syndrome and what you can do to beat imposter syndrome. If this is something that interests you, definitely keep watching. Alright, so what is imposter syndrome? It's that constant feeling of being undeserving of a particular position that you are at currently. You're always doubting your skills, or you're doubting the legitimacy of a position that you are currently at. You don't think you are supposed to be there. You don't count yourself worth. You think you're a fraud. You think that the success that you're witnessing in your life is not supposed to be. I felt this way when I started my MBA program in 2020, and I'm just sharing this so that anyone who is dealing with imposter syndrome currently, or who would be on their way to being in a position where they might experience imposter syndrome, would put in the right actions, would put in the right steps to combat it. So let me share my experience with imposter syndrome. When I started my MBA in the fall of 2020, I started remotely from Nigeria, and this meant that I would be on Zoom, and my other classmates, the ones who happened to be in the United States at the time, I would be watching them on Zoom alongside the other people from all around the world who couldn't get their visas as well. What I'll notice is in the course of the class, when the lecturer is speaking, like whilst the lecturer is still speaking and I'm still trying to understand what the lecturer is saying, some people already raised up their virtual hands, their Zoom hands, or like physically in the class, just sharing ideas and critiquing or making inferences from what has been said. And I'm still even trying to process what the professor just said. I still don't even understand it yet, but people are already, talking and deliberating and answering. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And that happened for a couple of days. And I started seeing myself shrink. I would not be able to engage in class discussions because I didn't feel like I was enough. I felt like the people who were speaking had better perspectives to share just because I'd seen them boldly talk about the things that they were saying, and I was just here on the other side, even trying to understand what was being said before I can even make an inference and contribute intelligently to the discussion. So imposter syndrome happens when you're constantly second guessing your ideas. For instance, I recall a number of occasions where the professor will ask a question, and luckily I understood and I had the answers, but instead of me to raise up my hand in class and talk, I'm still trying to process, does this make sense? Are you sure you can say it right? Won't you make a mistake? Things like thoughts will just be going around in your mind, and that will continue for like 10-20 seconds until somebody else raises up their hand and says it, and they say almost the exact thing that you meant to say, and the professor is like, yeah, that's good, and you're like, why didn't I just say it? But guess what? That happened not once, not twice, not 3 times. It happened severally until I began to own what was happening in my mind space and understand that I was currently battling with imposter syndrome. Now, it's a very tough and terrible position to be in, because we constantly don't feel like our voice is worth listening to, or our ideas are legit or correct, just because they came from our own minds, and we're too used to our minds that we don't think that what we're about to say is knowledgeable or valuable to the class. We don't think that we can contribute intelligently just because of our background or the things that we have experienced, or just because of some internal self-talk that is negative. It also stems from being like overly conscious of your surroundings, overly conscious of the fact that, oh, people are watching me, people are going to critique me, people are doing this, people are doing that. No, like everyone is watching out for themselves. You do you. Like, say what you want to say in class. If it's correct, you contribute to the class. If it's not correct, you get an opportunity to be corrected, or you're sharing a different perspective. Honestly, it's not more than that. Nobody's going to bite you or make you feel like you are not intelligent. You got into the class, you deserve a seat at the table. Your experiences are beneficial, whether you like it or you do not like it. Many times, this also stems from feeling like you're not an expert in the subject matter, and so you shouldn't contribute. Who really is an expert? Like, if you have done something well and you have some sort of experience with it, you do not need to be an expert before you contribute on that matter, before you open your mouth and speak. You don't have to speak for 5-10 minutes. You can just say your 3 lines and you've said something that is intelligent to the class. So let me go back to my own personal experience. I remember that in one of those scenarios where I am doubting myself. Remember, I said that imposter syndrome stems from you constantly speaking negatively to yourself, right? And you would not know, but there's a voice inside of you that is just constantly critiquing you. So for instance, maybe somebody asked a question, or I'm trying to contribute, but I do not just want to speak because I'm afraid that what I'm about to say is not correct. And then there's something in my mind that is saying, oh, you are smart, you can do it, you finished with your first class, you're intelligent. And then another voice is here saying, well, that was 7 years ago, you're no longer as smart. You know, different things will just be playing, like different scenarios that nobody even cares about will just be playing over the face of your mind, and it will actually stop you from being yourself and contributing intelligently. I really had to ask myself, Fisayo, you are actually a kind person in real life, right? The kindness that you exhibit to other people, do you exhibit it to yourself? The self-talk that you say, are you kind in it? You're kind to people. Why not be kind in return to yourself in terms of the words that you actually speak to yourself? Every time you are speaking something negative, make sure that you are countering it with positive talk. Anytime that your mind is trying to point you in a negative direction, make sure you bring it back to your positive confessions and affirmations. And the truth is that self-doubt actually stops you from moving forward, be it in your career or in any phase of life that you are currently in. It's not just about like the imposter syndrome that you face in class. It's also going to trickle down to your relationships, your friendships, your family obligations, how you navigate life, how you navigate decision making in your career. If you have imposter syndrome and you're constantly doubting yourself, you will not be able to move ahead. And one thing that I see with many people is they're not able to do things because they're constantly afraid, like, oh, what if you fail? What if this doesn't work out? Oh, what if you fly? What if it works out? Like, what if? Why don't you focus on the positive things? Like, why don't you focus on the fact that it could happen and happen for you, right? So for me, the actions that I actually carried out were, constantly speaking positively to myself, catching myself when I hear negative talk, and just nipping it in the bud immediately and saying positive things like I am enough, I am bold, I'm courageous, I am the light of the world, I have the wisdom to navigate life, there's a well of creativity on my inside, I never run out of ideas, I have the drive to push myself ahead in life. I'm constantly growing and evolving into a better version of myself. I am a magnet for positivity and goodness and happiness. Just things like that. I create solutions. Words like that actually helped me just to stay on track and to constantly remind myself of what I'm worth when negative self-thoughts comes in. So I would boldly speak in class if I have an idea about what has been mentioned, or if I have a question, even if I don't think any question is a stupid question anymore. I just ask away because it's not even a stupid question. You'll be surprised, like when you speak in class, you think it's a stupid question, and the professor is here saying that is so insightful, and gives you just a different perspective to what you have said, and other students in class begin to engage based off of what you have said. So there's no there's no way that you are actually losing. You're actually gaining a lot by contributing your experiences, by opening your mouth and speaking up in class. Another thing to do is to constantly surround yourself with positive people, be it in the form of podcasts or books or actual humans that are very supportive of you and are speaking positivity to you all the time. It's important, especially in situations where you are down. There's some scenarios where you'd actually need to surround yourself with more things. So apart from the voices of positivity that you're hearing on your inside, you also have positivity on your external side, speaking to you, right? Those things really help, and they helped me to build my confidence when I started my program. A third thing to do is to rid yourself of negativity. If it's social media, if you have to unfollow or mute or block everything or every person that is always demeaning your ability, or is always trying to talk you down, or doesn't value you, those people and those circumstances where you just do not feel right. That it's not right. That if you separate yourself from them, you'll be a lot better, but just because of some sentiments you still keep going back. It's time to free yourself. It's time to free yourself. It is. And the fourth and final thing I would say is just to be self-aware. I know I mentioned something like this earlier on. Be self-aware. Catch yourself when you're speaking those negative things, or when you are feeling those negative things, just so that you can combat it immediately. Catch yourself so that it doesn't degenerate into something that is longer, because these feelings, they're just transient, very short, but when you start internalizing them for a lot longer than those short periods, then it becomes a very big issue. So it's good to catch yourself and continue to stay bold and encouraged and believing in yourself and believing in your own ability. You've got this, and I am rooting for you 101%. Again, thank you so much for watching my video. If you found this insightful, please hit like on this video, please subscribe to my channel, and let me know if there are more things that you want me to talk about my experience in my MBA program or anything else. Just drop it in the comments and let me see it. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye.